And now we are going to talk about the NFC and the AFC and how there has been a major shakeup. We could call it QB roulette, whatever you want to call it, but there has been a major shakeup in the conference and definitely has shifted the dynamic of the conference. And now basically the NFC, we obviously NFL fans, we all know it was probably one of the most competitive conferences, in sports. Obviously the NBA, the Western Conference in the NBA was very competitive. But from the NFL, the NFL, it was obviously the NFC. You had players like Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson in Seattle, there's Dak Prescott, there's so many. There was Jared Goff in LA, Matthew Stafford now in LA, there's Matt Ryan, there was Kirk Cousins, there was Drew Brees. So I'm talking about before, these were the kind of the players that, made it so tough. There was obviously, we talked about Russell Wilson, there was obviously quarterbacks. It was way more competitive than the AFC. AFC, really, all we had was Tom Brady and it was Peyton Manning. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning rivalry. We had Andrew Luck a little bit in there, but that was pretty much it. Plus, now Tom Brady moved to the NFC, so not even got more competitive. So that was even more tougher conference. Now the AFC, we saw the likes of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. He should start. He's gonna start producing. Of course, Jacksonville, didn't do so well last year. They should do well this year. They surrounded Trevor Lawrence with enough talent, I think. Then you have I was gonna say Oakland, but Las Vegas Raiders. You had Derek Carr. You had the LA Chargers, and Justin Herbert. Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes. There's also Ryan Tannehill with the Titans. There is now there's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan got traded to the Colts, so there's that. So definitely the AFC is so much more competitive. And from an NFC standpoint, I don't think the playoff will really change. I really don't. I think it's the same setup. Aaron Rodgers, does he get first seed? We could all talk about that. But from NFC North, I think Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay win the division again. Then you got the NFC East. I say Dallas wins it. Maybe they get slightly lose maybe one more game. Carson Wentz maybe gives them a run a little. Maybe gets a little more competitive. Then you got the NFC South. Tom Brady, the Bucks, Saints, Carolina, Falcons. I pretty much say Tom Brady locks that division. Buccaneers win the division. Then you got the NFC West. Seattle, Russell Wilson's gone, so I don't think Seattle's are they gonna tank? We have to see. There's pretty much between San Francisco and LA, pretty much, and you got Arizona. So probably all those three teams. Let's say LA Rams win the division. Okay, so then your other two wild cards will probably be San Francisco. We got to see what happens with Jimmy G. They keep him. Maybe 1 year, see if they can win. Go farther. Maybe go to Super Bowl. We have to see. In Arizona, I think Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. We talked about that. Of course, Kyler Murray. It's rumored he wants out, but let's say he stays. I think Arizona gets one of either the 5th or 6th spot, and there's a 7th spot. There's one more spot left, and that could be either between maybe Vikings, Kirk Cousins, they get the 7th spot, or maybe Chicago gets it. We have to see. I think it's not as competitive. I think we kind of know where the NFC. I don't think nothing really changes. Maybe Philadelphia, Washington get that 7th spot, but in the AFC, it is competitive. The AFC is now basically the NFC. There's so many quarterbacks. There's so much. You can't even think of all the teams and all the QBs and all the weapons everyone has. It's just so many. You could start with the AFC East. There's the Patriots. They're definitely have a shot at making the playoffs. I say Buffalo. Buffalo wins that division. Miami. You had Miami. That Tyreek Hill. So that gives them some competitiveness. And plus, hopefully Tua Tagovailoa, hopefully Mike McDaniels can figure that out if he's a franchise quarterback or not. That's for sure. Those three teams you could say competitive. Let's say Buffalo wins that division. Okay, Buffalo. Then we go to the AFC North. There's Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, the Cleveland Browns, and Baltimore. Those are 4 good teams. I really don't know who's going to win the division. We could talk about Pittsburgh. Mitch Trubisky. The defense of Pittsburgh is really good. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, so that definitely gets thrown in the mix. Cincinnati, they're defending AFC champions. They protected, I think, Joe Burrow more. A second year of Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. So that's competitive. He also got Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was injured, so last year definitely allowed Cincinnati to win that division. So Lamar Jackson should be healthy. We have to see. They're always good. They're always competitive. There's Cleveland with Deshaun Watson. They should be good. They're always competitive. So there's like 4 teams. There's 4 teams. So let's say I say Baltimore wins that division. Let's say Baltimore wins that division. Even though I think more protection on Joe Burrow, that's great. I say Lamar Jackson probably is hungry for a division. Probably wants to get to the Super Bowl. Prove that he is a franchise quarterback. I think he is. Show him with the right pieces. I think he could be. Either between Cincinnati, Cleveland, and maybe Baltimore. We have to see how Deshaun Watson starts off in the first couple of games, because he hasn't played football in a while. So we have to see. Then there is the AFC West. That's loaded. Denver and Russell Wilson and his weapons that Russell Wilson's gonna be throwing the ball to. Then there's Las Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr. Then there's also Kansas City. It's the Chargers. They went out and they got Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. You add Joey Bosa on the defense, plus Justin Herbert on the offense. I say, does Kansas City win the division? That's gonna be the key. If they can win that division without Tyreek Hill, that's gonna be very. Plus you got Russell Wilson in that division too. So I want to see Kansas City, because you don't count Kansas City out. You never do. We saw what happened last year. They weren't doing so well in the beginning, but slowly they picked up pretty quick and they won the division. From now, I want to say Denver, Russell Wilson. There's also the Chargers and what they have added, but for now I'm just gonna stick with Kansas City. And then AFC South, Ryan Tannehill and Titans, Colts and Matt Ryan, Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence, and Houston. So Houston definitely is out of the equation for sure. Houston and the Jets, there's no chance to make playoffs. There's Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Maybe they go 8-8. Maybe they go 8-9 now. So maybe they get 9 wins. 9 wins, maybe 9 or 8 wins. I say Jacksonville. I actually think the Colts will win that division. They have a quarterback, Matt Ryan. He can throw the ball. I know people are gonna say no, he's in his 30s, but I still think he can throw the ball. You had one of the best running backs in Jonathan Taylor. If you could get a weapon, I know they got Michael Pittman, but if you could get a wide receiver, might be Julio Jones maybe. If you could get him a weapon, big time wide receiver, I think I'd give Indianapolis Colts their division. So Bills win the division. We said who do we say? We said Baltimore wins the other division. The AFC they win the AFC North. Then the AFC West, we said Kansas City, and then the AFC South, we said Indianapolis. So that leaves 3 more teams. So those 3 teams, it could be either New England, it could be either the Cleveland Browns, it could be either Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's see how Mitch Trubisky does. It could be either Cincinnati, it could be Chargers, it could be Las Vegas Raiders, it could be Tennessee Titans, it could be Denver Broncos. We said the Chargers, we said the Titans. That is, right now, is 8 teams. 8 teams. And only 3 of those 8 teams will get a playoff spot. And on top of that, they won't even host a game. The divisional winners host a game. So it's going to be tough, the AFC. There's going to be teams that got 10, 11 wins and probably won't even make the playoffs. And it's going to be very competitive. We have to see, from playoff standpoint, NFL, of course, you want more teams. More teams, more games equals more money in the NFL pockets. So do you, will the NFL expand? Do you think maybe may go 8 playoff teams? Maybe NHL and a NHL or NBA style format, maybe 8 teams each conference. One plays 8, 2, and there really is no bye, right? There is no bye. Maybe you could have one bye for every single team. So maybe you do after week 18, everyone gets one bye, and then playoffs begin. And then 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, because the AFC is way too competitive. You won't squeeze all these teams in. So we will have to see how the playoffs, pan out. We have to see who gets in, see how many wins. So what are your thoughts on that AFC? How competitive it is? Who do you think will make the playoffs? Who do you think will win the division? Who do you think might even win the Super Bowl? I know we don't know the draft coming up, so it's hard to tell. But just from the moves right now, who do you think is the strongest in that AFC? Because it is very competitive. So what are your thoughts? And thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and thanks.